Hi Taurus, and welcome to Embrace Your Moon Tarot and your August 2017 tarot reading. So I was sitting here shuffling, trying to get a sense of Taurus and how you feel. And I just get an overall sense that you're at a good place. The ones who are finding this channel and watching this right now. You don't, maybe it's not so much you're at a good place, but you just don't feel like you need to complain. It is what it is. Life is what it is. What's come across your path is part of life, and your acceptance of whatever's come your way. So you've found a way to just accept where you're at, come what may, and recognize the cycle of life is what the cycle of life is, and to embrace it and accept it and move with it. And it's kind of where I'm feeling a lot of you are right now. And it's not that life is sunshine and roses for you right now. You just recognize that rainy days are necessary for the flowers to bloom. So it is what it is. You just figure it is what it is. This too shall pass. You'll work your way through it. So yeah, that's kind of how I'm feeling whenever I'm trying to tap into Taurus energy for right now. So let's see what we have for you. Current energy, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, recent past, possible, or your strength, possible obstacle, and potential future. So I'm going to start with the recent past, which we have the Wheel of Fortune. And like I said, I feel this is a very good description of where you are right now. You just recognize this is how the world turns. You recognize that this is how life is. This is how it goes. You can't have sunshine every day. There are rainy days, but you know, the rainy days have a purpose, just like the sunny days have a purpose. So it's not so much that that life is perfect and that you have no problems or that you have no issues. It's not that. You just recognize that this is all part of life. You've gotten to a point where you just feel you can move as the world moves. You can turn as the world turns, and you've just accepted your place in it. And that's it. Just it's not good or bad or one way or the other. It just is. And I don't want to call it contentment, but you definitely feel you're just, like I said, you've gotten to a point where you're okay with it. You just recognize that this is what it is, and you're just moving with it. So that's just been within the recent past. And I think it's just been a realization that you had. It's not so much that there was this huge event that brought about this. I feel like for the most part, most of you, this kind of revelation came peacefully. It may have been slow. Some of you, it may have been tedious. It may have come in bites, but I feel for the most part, it wasn't this shocking, traumatic moment. It wasn't an earthquake that shook your world. It was just something that you came to on your own, and I feel like a lot of you, it may have taken a long time to get here. You may have had a couple mini earthquakes over the last couple of months that have brought you to this. But the moments, the days leading up to it were actually kind of quiet. And maybe it's just the quiet moments afterwards that allowed you to have this perception that just kind of that calm, quiet that allowed you to really perceive and be like, oh, this is just the way it is. But acceptance, I think, is probably a much more fitting word than contentment. But it's a positive acceptance. It's not so much a feeling like you have to submit whether you want to or not. It's a positive acceptance that this is the way it is, and it's good. And because now that you've accepted it, you can work with it. You can move with it. So as a result of that, your present energy is feeling like life is good. You feel that instead of focusing on what you don't have, you can focus on and therefore be grateful for what you do have. And in that is great power, because when you are able to look around you and accept what you have, you create space for more abundance. You create space for moving forward and for growth and for expansion. So like I said, it's not that it's sunshine and roses. It's not that it's perfect. It's not that all your wishes and your dreams and your desires have finally just been given to you on a silver platter. As much as that you've recognized where you're at, you've accepted it, and with that acceptance comes the power of being able to see what you have and not focus on what you don't have. Just focus on what you have and what you can do with it, what you can create with it, how you can create expansion and more abundance with what you do have. Like I said, you've gotten to a point where you accept where you are, and it's a positive acceptance, because now you can work with it and you can grow with it. There's so much power in that, and that is where you are right now. Physically, we have the King of Wands, and I feel like that is something that kind of is taking this Ten of Pentacle energy and going a step further. Like I said, you have that positive acceptance. With that, you're able to truly see what you have. And with recognizing what you have, you're able to have the power and create space to know how you can make it grow and expand. And so throughout the month of August, you're going to recognize how you can really manifest more just with what you have. Whether you have a little or a lot, you're going to have, you're going to move through the month of August with the capacity of being able to grow more, create more abundance for yourself. And again, this isn't world on a silver platter kind of abundance. It's just that it's that recognition, the gratitude, the ability to be able to see how one sunflower seed grows one sunflower, but there are so many seeds within that one sunflower, and from those seeds you can grow thousands more sunflowers. That's kind of where you're at, and that's the kind of externalizing you're going to have. You're going to be able to manifest more. And like I said, it's not that it's going to be huge. It's not like you can all go out and buy a lottery ticket and now you're going to win. But it's just going to be that fulfilling of growth that you get when you realize that you planted something and it grew, and from that you can grow many, many more from just one of that. So you're going to be spending the month continuing to grow, continue to expand, continue to add to your abundance, and being able to add to your position of gratitude, and being able to feel that you can grow even more as a result of it, and just that nice rotation of growth, and then being grateful for it, creating that space to grow more, for which you'll be more grateful for. It's just going to be this nice rotation of manifestation, just because you've managed to accept where you are and recognize what you can do with where you are. Mentally, I do feel, and I think this is why I keep saying that you're not going to be able to go out and just buy a lottery ticket, because I feel like there's still that underlying thought regarding how, even though you accepted it, and we all believe, whether you believe in the universe, spirit, deity, God, however you perceive it, you do believe that the universe has your back, and you have this capacity to accept, and then you recognize that you can grow. There's still that underlying thought of, yes, but why can't it be more? Why can't the world be served to me on a platter? Like, why can't it just be handed to me? Why does there have to be a struggle? Why? So I feel that even though you do have this acceptance and there's been great power in it and you recognize it, you're still going to have those moments of wondering why and when the world's going to be delivered to you. You still have those moments where you can still look at other people and say, but they have, and I don't. Why do they have? What are they doing different? What has happened that they were gifted that and I can't be gifted that by the universe or by God or the deity or whoever? So there's this, you're still going to have those moments, and it's unnatural. We're still human. We still have our moments where we compare ourselves to other people, and we know where we think we want to be, and we know what we think we want, and we know what we see other people do and don't have. And so sometimes we do get out of that moment of acceptance and contentment that comes with acceptance, because we want more, we want better, and there's nothing wrong with that until we start to allow these to take hold. And once they take hold and we get focused too much on that comparison and contrasts of what we do and don't have versus what other people do and don't have, and what we're doing versus what they're doing, it does kind of stop how much the world is given to us. What you have been served, what you have been given, that kind of blocks some of that flow. So don't beat yourself up if you start to feel like you're going through the normal human process of comparing what you've done and haven't done, and what you've been given and not given versus other people, because that's natural. The problem is when you spend so much time focusing on it that suddenly you're out of that position of contentment that you once had, and as a result of that, you're stopping the flow, you're stopping the growth, you're stopping the opportunity to be grateful and to recognize what you do have and what you can do with that. So I think that's going to be something that through it all, you're going to have moments of this. And so I do think that you also need to be wary so that it doesn't consume your thoughts, doesn't consume you, and doesn't take you out of this position of contentment and happiness that you've found. In the matters of the emotional state, we have Page of Cups, and I feel that with this, what has occurred and has happened that made you feel that this is part of life and recognize what you have, there's something going on with emotional status, and I feel that there's an emotional loss in some regards for some of you. Some of it might actually be the loss of someone that you held very dear to you. And I think that as terrible as it has been, has also helped you to take stock in where you are, who you are, and what life has given you, and helped you to be grateful for what you do have. And I don't want to take away from the emotional status that this has for those of you who has experienced this emotional pain. I don't know that it's been everybody who's going to come across this who is a Taurus, but I do feel that there is a good many of you who are Taurus that's going to have this emotional impact in your life. And it's just going to be one of those things where, as painful as it is, it's going to give you a moment of growth emotionally that's going to impact your life as a whole, your perception as a whole. It's going to create the opportunity for you to be more compassionate towards yourself, because you're able to see life in a different way as a result of having experienced this loss. And I do feel that it's some of you, it is going to be, or has been, someone that you've lost who is close to you in some way or another. You're very emotionally invested in this particular being, and I don't know that it is necessarily a person. Some of you, it might be a pet that you felt was a very close companion. And like I said, I don't feel that this is all of you who are a Taurus, but I feel that there are some of you who are going to experience this. And those who aren't going to experience a loss, you're still going to experience a slight disheaval in some way emotionally. There may be a disconnect with someone that you were tied to emotionally, and there's going to be a loss in that that person's not going to be in your life anymore. They're still going to be alive, but they're not going to be in your life anymore. But it's really going to make you take stock. And, you know, hindsight's 20/20 kind of scenario in which you're going to be able to look back and you see, have a better idea, a better perception of what you have and what it means. And it's just going to create this this growth within your heart. You're going to have an emotional awakening, so to speak. And I feel that this is connected too with the spiritual. As a result of some of this transition, you're going to have this connection that's going to make you feel that you have a stronger faith as a result of it. It's going to strengthen your faith or your belief in general. And I don't know that it's going to be anything specific in the sense that now you've chosen a spiritual path, because I feel like a lot of you already have a chosen spiritual path. But there may have been some upheaval spiritually that made you kind of question a few things, or made you kind of reconsider a few things, or made you just kind of digging deeper spiritually. And I feel that towards the end of the month, you're going to get to this point where you're not going to need the answers like you used to, because you're going to be able to accept some of the acceptance that you've already kind of had through other aspects of your life. And I feel it's going to be tied to whatever emotional loss that you're going to experience. You're going to feel that capacity of just accepting, knowing that you don't have to have or see or have huge visions or huge synchronicities to prove to you what you need to know. You're going to be in that position where you just know and you feel comfortable believing without proof, which is powerful in and of itself if you just think about that just alone. Very powerful in itself. So I do believe that that's going to be more towards the end of the month for you, but you're going to get there none the same. Your strength is King of Cups, and this is the kind of nurturing and love that you get that is tender but firm. And it's going to be something you can give yourself. We always kind of think of love as being gentle and healing and nurturing, you know, like a mother's love. And that's usually what we equate. That's usually what we think of. But occasionally we need a little bit more. And I feel that this month, your strong point is not to nurture yourself lovingly and give your boo-boos kisses and tell you that you are a wonderful child of God or goddess or spirit or the divine or however you may perceive it. Your strength and power this month is to be able to give yourself some tough love. It's the love that tells you what you have to do, whether you want to hear it or not. It's the love that is straightforward, and doesn't beat around the bush, doesn't try to tell you gently or softly. It just tells you how it is because you need to hear it. It gives you the kick in the seat of your pants because you need someone to kick you to get you moving. That's the kind of love you need to be giving yourself. And this is something you're going to be getting from yourself. And if you've been spending a lot of time saying, I just need to love myself, I feel like I need to nurture myself, I feel like I need to heal myself, I feel like I need to mother myself, you're on the right track, but you need to switch it a little bit, flip it a little bit, and add a little bit of fire to that love. You know, give yourself some tough love. Give yourself, like I said, just be firm and direct and stop being around the bush. Tell yourself what you need to know. And I feel like some of this is going to help boost you into that moment of feeling you don't need proof anymore. You can just believe because you know. It's going to come as a result of this strength. Taking the time to give yourself that tough love. No more cuddles. No more coddling. No more soft-spoken words. It's time to stop being so gentle. You can be loving without being so gentle. Sometimes we just need that tough love, and this is something I do truly believe it's something you're going to get from yourself. You have to provide for yourself, so it's time to flip the switch. Give yourself some of that tough love. your possible obstacle for the month is the Six of Cups, and I feel like this is just going to be you getting back into that narrative within your head of feeling like you need to reminisce of how things were and how that's going to nurture you. And yes, reminiscing is great. Yes, remembering things fondly that help to make us feel stronger, help us to feel more loved, help us to feel more secure. That is a good thing, but sometimes we get so comfortable in that position that we don't feel the need to leave, and you're done. You can't be there anymore. It's time to move on. Yes, you're allowed to tell yourself that this was thus, and this was great, and this was wonderful, and this was nurturing, and whatever narrative that you have when you have these moments of reminiscing and nostalgia. But you can't. It's time to stop resting there. You've rested there long enough. It's time to move on. Carry the emotions that you have regarding that fill and fulfill you and nurture you and help you feel stronger and help you to move on. But move. You cannot stay there any longer. It's time to move on. So the potential month ending is Nine of Wands. And so I feel that this is directly linked with getting to that point where you feel like you can just believe and you don't need proof. And it's going to be necessary, because I feel that towards the end of the month, you're going to come to a point in your life where your faith and your acceptance that this is how life goes, that the rain has to fall for the flowers to bloom. The rain has to fall for you to be able to plant that sunflower seed, for that sunflower seed to grow into a sunflower, which will host tons of other seeds for you to grow in abundance. You'll have that acceptance, and you'll have that understanding, and you'll move with that as you move through the month of August. But as you get close to the end of August, there's going to be some unsettling of being tired of just accepting and waiting. And you need that faith that allows you to not need the proof. You need to not see that sunflower bloom to know that there are seeds there that you can use for the next year. Because as you come towards the end of the month, there's going to be a need for you to be patient. Be patient that this is life. Be patient that not all movement is fast and furious. Not all movement creates great things immediately. Like I said, you need to have belief and patience that you don't need that sunflower to open up to know that there are seeds in there for you to be able to grow, plant more seeds in the coming time. So I feel that towards the end of the month, there's not going to be a huge change. Like, you're going to have some of this happen. You're going to have these shifts in the physical world and the emotional world and what have you. And I just feel that this is just all slow in process. And you're going to end the month of August not very far from how you began the month of August. So there's just not going to be this fast and furious movement. And so you're going to have a point where you're going to have to be able to take this acceptance and allow it to feed patience. Because whatever it is that you're working for, whatever it is that you're hoping for, whatever seeds that you've planted and you're waiting to bloom, you're still not going to see it towards the end of August. And you might start questioning why and how come, and the comparison contrasts might start to come in again. Again, I think that this is just going to be, like I said, you're not going to move very far, and it's just going to be you being comfortable with taking that acceptance with how life is, and being able to apply it spiritually, and recognizing that you don't always need proof, and you need to be comfortable with not always needing proof. You need to be comfortable with just accepting, knowing what you know, and being happy with what you know, and accepting of what you don't know, which can be even harder. So these are two very tied together, because I feel that it's going to be tough towards the end of the month if you feel like you've only taken 3 steps from the beginning of the month, despite a whole entire month passing. But you're going to have, I feel very strongly that towards the end of the month, you're not going to be moving very far. You're not going to be moving very fast, and you're going to be required to be patient and continuing with your acceptance and feeding that belief that it's okay. That it is what it is, and all is going to work out as it's supposed to, as long as you're doing your part in the process of moving forward. And sometimes your part is just to be patient. So I'm going to go ahead and pull a card to kind of wrap this all up. And this is just sort of an energy card to carry you through as you move through the month of August. So when you come up on hard times, or when you start to question what it is that you got in the reading and how it compares, or you just need something to carry with you to work because you can't carry the entire reading, obviously, but you might need a little bit of oomph or boost or whatever. This is kind of that card. It ties it all together. And when you think of this card, it's going to be a color card. When you think of this color, this card, or the words on this particular card, it'll help you to remember the key points that you need to remember and apply as you move through the month of August. So let me go ahead and pull a card. Ego, shadow work. Some of the work that you're going to be doing is shadow work. So some of the process in which you're going through, some of the things that you're experiencing, what has allowed you to accept where you're at right now and what it means to you and how you can apply it. And this growth and the space that you're creating to be able to grow more abundantly is because of the work you've been doing internally. And I feel that that's where this is coming into play too. The capacity that you'll have to be able to reach that point in time where you feel like you're comfortable knowing with what you know and you don't need proof anymore. You don't need to see proof that you can reside in just knowing, is because of the work that you've been doing internally. You've been doing a lot of soul searching, or you will through the month of August. Some of you may not have started, or maybe you just have started. Some of you, I feel, may have started a long time ago, and it's just kind of coming to a head. And you're just going to continue as you move through this energy that has been laid in front of you. It has to do with the shadow work that you've been doing. And some of you, it might even, and I feel like this clarifies a little bit of the Page of Cups, it may be some connections, especially if some of you are doing work as far as trying to connect to the version of yourself that you were as a child, and what that part of you may have wanted, and how that compares and contrasts to what you have and may still want today. So some of that might even be some of the emotional loss that you have, because it's still very emotional tie for you personally, that you, so if you get to a point where you can disconnect from that, you might still feel the emotional connection or that emotional loss that I was speaking of. Some other of you anyhow. So I feel that throughout the month, that shadow work that you've been working on, whether you recognize it or not, that's what you've been doing. And I feel that this is just letting me know that that's why this process has been so slow and long. And it's letting me to let you know that you're on the right track. Taking the time to delve into yourself so deeply takes a lot of time and energy. And the reward is the acceptance. The reward is feeling like you are a place where you can accept positively how things are turning and working out, and to get to that point where you can accept that what you know is sufficient for you to believe that all is well and all is working according to plan. So just keep working with yourself. I feel that that's the biggest thing regarding this particular card, is to keep working with yourself, keep connecting with yourself. And that, yes, it's slow and it feels tedious at times, because you put in so much time and you put in so much energy, and it seems like you're not getting very far. But I feel like one step in this kind of work is huge in comparison to multiple steps in other parts of our life, or other aspects of our life. So just keep working and keep believing, keep feeding and nurturing. But remember, your strength in this month isn't the nurturing and the nostalgia and the coddling. The nurturing and the love that you can give yourself is to find out what you know, find out what you believe, find out how it nurtures you, and then do something about it. Don't reminisce, don't compare and contrast. Let it help you to do something about it, to take you place, take you to the next step, to manifest what you need to manifest, and to love yourself firmly and truly, and recognize that self-love doesn't always have to be nurturing and coddling. Sometimes it can just be firm and direct and telling you what you need to do and what you need to know so that you can move on. And hopefully some of this will be wrapping up for you. I feel like a lot of it's going to start making sense come the end of August, toward the beginning of September for a lot of you. So shadow work, work on that side of yourself that you maybe have been ignoring. And if you're not ignoring it and you have been working on it, continue. You're on the right track. All right, that is all I have for you for August. I feel like that was a pretty intense reading. So many blessings to you as you work through this, and keep the faith, keep the good hope, and many blessings to you as you end August, and hopefully I will see you in September.